Hi, welcome back again. Justin here, of course, and this lesson is BL-023, in which we're going to be talking about the minor pentatonic scale and the blues scale in position 4. Now, of course, we're doing all of these in A, so we're going to be starting with our first finger right up in the 12th fret. Again, there's quite a few different fingering options for this scale, so I'm going to go through those with you now, starting off, of course, with the minor pentatonic scale. Let's go to a close-up and get started. Okay, for position 4, we're starting here with the first finger in the 12th fret of the 5th string, which is our root note, the note A. And for this one, we're going first finger, 4th finger, then first, 3rd, first finger, 3rd finger again. Now for practice, you can use here 2nd and 4th, but I'm going to show you a couple of variations of this in a sec. And then 1 and 4. Back down the scale. And we're going to use a 4th and 1st finger on this low note, as with these low strings as well. Of course, coming back and starting and finishing on that low root note. So I'll play that scale all the way up and down now for you, once nice and slow. Now the obvious fingering issue here is when we get up to the 2nd string. So the first part's pretty standard. But now when we get to these notes here, now the reason for the change of fingering is because you notice we've got our 4th finger on both of those notes here on the 15th fret. And they're both really good notes to bend. And we don't like bending with the little finger. So one of the most common solutions here is to use fingers 1 and 3 on the G string. And then use fingers 1 and 3 again on the 2nd string, but of course your first finger had to move up a fret from its regular position. And then we use 1 and 3 again on the thinner string. Now, I use that fingering for this scale quite a lot. If we go straight into talking about which notes you'd bend now for this one. So starting off on the root note, you're probably not going to bend that one. The note here with your little finger here on the 15th fret, that one is a good one to curl if you want. Quite a nice one to put a little curl on with it. You can do a tone bend, but doing a tone bend with your little finger there is a little bit awkward, so I don't generally advise that. Then we've got 1 and 3. Now if you're going to bend that one, you'd need to bend it a tone to stay within the scale. Sorry, a tone and a half to stay with the scale there. So that'd be quite a big bend, not very common. Unless you're Dave Gilmour, you're probably not going to be doing that one a whole lot. So possible, but not very likely. First finger, we're not going to be touching that one much. 3rd finger, again, if you want to bend that one, you have to bend it another minor 3rd or 3 semitones, tone and a half. Same, all the same thing. That's another quite a big bend, not very common, so you generally wouldn't be doing that one. Now when it comes to the next one, we're going to use this 1 and 3 fingering. This first finger, this note here that I'm playing with the first finger, is a great one to curl. It's the note C. Now you can curl that with either the first finger, or you could, if you're using that first fingering that we had, you can curl it with the 2nd finger. It's a really nice little trick. Really good one to bend, that one, to curl rather. So you could do those curls of course with the first finger. And that sets you up nicely for this note here, the note D, which you're going to use your 3rd finger, which takes a tone bend. Really good one to bend that one as well. Now you can also bend that one a semitone and get to your blue note. Nice little do a semitone, then a tone. It's also a nice one. So this one's a really, really good one to bend. You can bend a semitone to the blue note or a tone to stay within the scale notes. We get onto the thinner string now. We've got the first finger at the 12th fret, which you're almost certainly not going to bend. That one's going to be a pretty horrible one if you try and bend that one. And we've got then the third finger, which takes a really nice tone bend to the root note. So that's another classic one to bend if you're in that position. Really lots of good bending opportunities in this scale. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is where the blue notes are found around this position 4 of the minor pentatonic scale. There's some really, really good, useful little positions for this blue note with this. Again, you can practice trying to play a blues scale up and down if you wish, but much easier just to learn where the notes are and how a few different tricks to find them, little slides and stuff that you can use to access this very, very cool little note. So let's go to a close-up and I'll go through with you where those blue notes are and how to use them. Okay, here we are looking for the blue notes now in position 4. So the first one that we come across here is going to be the second finger here on the 13th fret of the D string. Really, really nice one there. Nice, good access with a little hammer on and flick off with the first and second fingers. Really easy to access that one. Okay, continuing up the scale, we've got one here after the little finger here, which is the 16th fret of the second string. So when you're playing the scale, now I was using there just second and fourth fingers, which was a little awkward. Of course, if you're using first and third finger for that part of the scale, you can either bend from that note D or slide up to it. Really, really quite easy to access, nice sounding little position there. Now that same note is also found at the 11th fret of the thinner string, which is also really nice to access, just using a first finger slide. Or sliding back down to it and back up. Lots of really crazy little ways of kind of introducing that note. Now of course the same note is found down here at the 11th fret of the thicker string, but to be honest that one's a pretty hard one to use in that position. It probably, we're not going to get down that far. It exists, no it's there, but it's not really one that you're going to use a whole heap. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed checking out those licks in position 4. Remember, really important, make sure you're using them with the backing track. Blend them in with all of your other licks so you've got some good stuff to use when you start getting further up the neck. Really, really important. Also, just as a little note, in case I haven't mentioned it, make sure that you memorize where the root note is so that when we start to move these licks into other keys, that you don't suddenly have a big panic and you don't know where all the notes are in relation to the root note. Root note, really important. Know where the root note is. Should be a little rhyme or something, or maybe a tattoo on your forehead, that kind of thing. Okay, have fun with those, and I'll see you for the next lesson very shortly, which is going to be showing you some licks on actually how to use those things.